So welcome back, everybody. This is our Builder Series number 3, and we are here today with Jason Swart of Carter Lumber to talk about material costs and construction and how that's changed from quarantine and what we should really expect over the next few months and maybe heading into 2022. Those of you that don't know, I'm Danielle Palleschi-Browne. I'm with the Casa Group and a grid ambassador. And I'd like to introduce Raj Tamang, my partner. Raj, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Finally, hopefully it will happen this time because this is a continuation of what we tried to do last week.
Yes.
But, first, thanks Jason coming to my office. So he's in the office now. We're chilling out. So my name is Raj Tamang. I'm with Green Valley Custom Builder. I'm a custom home builder, and I love helping people. So this is the part of the thing we want to do, where we want to share our knowledge and experience with the fellow builders, maybe some real estate investors. So we love helping people.
Awesome. Yeah. And Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
I'm Jason Swart. I work for Carter Lumber. I've been in this industry since 1993. Seen a lot of interesting things.
Yes.
And same like what Raj says, I do this because I like to help the builders build a house. It's fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, and you have so much experience. I'm really excited to talk about this because this is quite the hot topic around materials and cost of those materials, up, down. We've had some changes in lumber, even in the week that we've since attempted to do this exact live, and we'll get into that today. So let's start there. Everyone has heard from the news and has been sharing the lumber crisis, right? What have we been seeing in the last week specifically? I guess let's start with the most up-to-date news.
So lumber futures, thankfully, have started coming down, which is fantastic because it couldn't keep going up any higher, and it's going to drive everybody insane.
No.
Now the lumber futures, now that what's coming down are the sticks, 2x4, 2x6s, and so forth. Plywood, if there's any bad news in this, unfortunately, plywood is still an issue and probably will continue to be an issue for a while.
Wow.
Like they're even forecasting that the entire year of 2022 could be a problem.
Kidding me.
Specifically for plywood.
Wow.
Plywood, yes, plywood.
Yeah. And that's used in a lot of spaces, for everything from roofing to subflooring to, I'm probably missing a bunch of other spaces, but it's prevalent throughout a home being built.
You're not building a house without it.
Nope.
No.
Yes.
So,
it's only plywood or OSB or EWP, pretty much anything that uses glue.
Anything, any plywood, and then the EWP, because it has the OSB product in it, that's going to be a problem. So they don't see any relief coming for those items right now. But it really, at this point, any relief is enough to get, in my opinion, any relief is enough to get excited about, because if you have your sticks coming down, that also affects truss pricing. So at least something like that can come down. So those are big ticket items. So
how much improvement have you seen on the price of 2x4s, 4x4s, like the stick?
Kind of off the top of my head, they were as high as about $1,600, $1,000. Now they're down near about $1,000.
Okay, it's like a 40% savings.
Yep, they're anticipating it probably taking a little bit of a jump at some point, because right now, with everything coming down, nobody's wanting to buy because they're waiting for it to keep coming down. Well, at some point, everybody's going to have to buy, or they're not going to have any materials. So what's going to happen is at some point, everybody's going to start buying again, and it's going to have a little bump back up. And then we think it's going to start coming back down again. We don't know when that is. Don't know what the dollar amounts are, but we think that's what's going to happen.
But let me ask you one thing, Jason. Okay, so you said lumber price has come down, so hopefully it will continue to come down to the level we feel comfortable. Now joist, I-joist,
Mhm.
those are DWP, right?
Correct.
So now for, let's say 10,000 square foot homes, typical that we build, do I go to floor trusses or do I stay with I-joist?
Right now, I would stick with I-joists.
Okay.
When you get into the real deep ones, if you're getting into the 16-inch ones and you're getting a very extensive span, it's going to be something that you want to look into possibly doing open web trusses, because if that market is coming down and the EWP is not, those really wide flange joists could be, it could be beneficial to go open web floor trusses.
Okay.
Right now it's not, but if this trend continues and EWP stays high and sticks go down, then I would definitely entertain
Consider
that.
floor trusses, right?
Yes.
Because I have one client I'm working with right now. They are in design phase, and this house is probably maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12,000 square foot homes. I don't know which vendor they are working with, but they told me they are using 14-inch joist for trusses. So they have a price comparison with trusses with joist. Trusses is coming out about 15,000 less. That's what they told me. With the 16-inch trusses.
I'm kind of surprised at that, but you never know. I mean, I haven't seen it yet.
Also, one thing I don't like, they are doing on a floor trusses, they are using 24 inches one center, which I don't like. I usually try to go 16 or 19.2 because more span means maybe bouncy floor, then your plywood has to be thicker. I think maybe that's the reason how they said maybe instead of going 16, they went to 24.
So you're using less joists.
Less. But the joist they have to go with 16. Maybe that's what they're saving it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for now it looks like I-joist is still cheaper, economical than going to floor trusses unless it's a big home. So.
Yeah. So have there been
you
any
do a big
other...
home and use the
Sorry.
No,
you keep going.
Oh no, I was commenting on the same thing that Raj says. I mean, if it's a big house and they're calling out the big series I-joist, the EWP, then I would still look at doing the open webs as an option. Just to see the comparison, because it is worth doing.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So Raj, as a builder, what have you seen in any projects that you've started to take on or started to scope out? Like what, and even if you have in the last week or two, any like really positive switches or any other tactics that you're implementing to try to save costs but not compromise on the quality, really, the overall quality?
I don't have anything coming on just now. I just started one project, which is just a foundation. So framing could be another 2 months, which Jason is working on it. So I've been talking with this homeowner because our lumber package was 65 grand. Jason come up with 120. So I was the one I had to talk to the owners and bring the bad news. But they wasn't a surprise because I had told them, because when we signed the contract was the beginning of 2021, even November, December. And I had told him lumber price the way it is, maybe much higher than what we anticipated now. So they're okay. But now we may have to defer for a couple of months or a couple of weeks because of the budget. Going from 65 to 120, that's a big jump. That's not budgeted, exactly. Even though this particular client of mine, they are doing in cash, they have a pot of money, but it's still, that's a big jump. But I don't have anything coming up. But one thing I'm being careful is that doors and windows, at least depending on what type of doors and windows you order, you may have to order 2-3 months in advance, right?
Yep. Same
thing with the appliances. Also, I'm using some Viking and the Thermador. Some of them, they're saying 5, 6, 7 months.
Ooh.
So I have one. I just finished to spec homes in Falser where Jason helped us. My appliances were Bose, BOSCH, was a bad idea because I ordered them like 8 months ago, and finally one house is completed, another house I still have 2 items left, and I don't know when I'm gonna get it.
Wow.
So it's just, you just have to, I think, talk to your vendor to see which one is more comfortable. Some of the product, high-end product, could be taking more time, but if they say 12 months or 8 months, unfortunately they don't even know. Right? So
Yeah.
I mean, because they also have to depend on the source. Sometimes they tell me, as a disclaimer, Raz, I'm telling you 6 to 8 months, but it may take time, 10 or 12 months. But we're gonna do everything from our side to make it happen. But right now it's very uncertainty. Anything you do in construction.
Yeah.
One of the big problems we're having right now, Therma-Tru doors, which is very popular exterior door company. They are not manufacturing 8-foot doors right now. Not even making them. So
holy cow! I need them, man. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
So what they've done is they're getting such a small amount of resources to make their product that they're focusing on their 6/8 doors because that's what they sell the majority of.
Yeah.
So as opposed to being really thin on both product lines, they're focusing on 6/8 right now.
Yeah. Which, for anyone who's maybe less familiar with door sizing, 6-foot doors are very commonly, or like 6 or 7-foot doors are much more commonly used in homes that are being renovated rather than are new construction. New construction, you tend to have higher ceilings, so you have taller doors. So not making an entire door type that's most commonly used with new construction can really be quite the challenge. And right now they're focusing on, the individual buyer or owner who wants to just replace the door in their house and not focusing on the other part, which can be a huge challenge for you guys. So what would you say your best advice would be for the next couple of months to try to maintain profit margins, ride the flow of however this is going to go, and plan as best you can as a builder, flipper, developer, someone who is in the middle of a project? What advice do you have for like the rest of 2021?
For me or Raj?
Both, probably. Jason, let's start with you, but I'll take both.
Well, I would say, like you said, plan ahead. If you're thinking it's 5 weeks, plan for 10. I mean, you can't be overly cautious with lead times, because if it's 5 today, it could be 10 tomorrow, and that's what we're running into. Is they're changing. You could have an order of windows in right now. We could order it 2 weeks ago when the lead time was 6 weeks. They took it to 12, and if you're in that path, you might be in the 12 now. So there's nothing is certain as far as lead times anymore. So plan ahead.
So let me ask you, with the lumber process and lumber, what is the lead time now?
Trusses are running about 6 weeks, which is pretty normal this time of year.
Okay.
Lumber, if you have flexibility in, say, things like your subfloor, we haven't run into an issue. And I say that flexibility is because Advantech, which is what everybody likes, we may have it today. We might be out of it for the next 2 weeks before another truck comes in. So we have substitute products that we're bringing in to cover the shortfalls of the mills. We used to have 3 products for subfloor, now we might have 8 in a cycle just to make sure we have something.
So is that the same kind of deadline with EWP? So just some of our viewers may not know what EWP, engineered wood products, which is your LVL or PSL or I-joist. We call it EWP, right? So EWP is the same schedule-wise or deadline?
No, it's about 2 weeks right now. What I usually will tell people, though, is with trusses being 6 weeks, most people will need about 2 weeks from the time their floor joists are dropped to be able to need trusses. So inevitably order them both at the same time, and then again, because you're thinking ahead, planning for that, and that way you get your floor joists in 4 weeks, even though they don't take that long, and then your roof trusses are 2 weeks later.
Okay, that makes sense. So, probably rather wait for week or two just to be safe side and make it tight schedule.
Mhm.
So let me go back one more step about 8-foot door.
Okay.
So with the tarmac tree, you said we don't have an option with 8-foot door. What are the options we have? Because if I want 8-foot door,
Yeah.
any other?
A lot of people. Well, there are other exterior door manufacturers, but 8-foot doors are still for fiberglass are still a 10 to 12 week lead time for them. So if you have that luxury, and unfortunately a lot of people don't, your other option is, and a lot of people are doing this with the styles of houses these days. A lot of people are putting patio doors in front on their front door, full glass, maybe doing an obscure glass, something like that. But they're the patio doors.
The patio door 8-foot is okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is okay. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes what I can do is a front door. You can have 6-foot 80-inch door, but then you have maybe 14-inch transom, or maybe done 12-inch side light on the both sides, things like that. But okay, we schedule. And typically when you order, we know the situation. We try to order at least 14, 16-inch week, 16 weeks in advance, just to be in safe side. For us, again, we don't do too many homes. Now I have 3-4 homes coming soon, so I really have to be careful.
Yeah.
But hopefully by the time I'm ready to order, the lumber price will come down significantly. I'm just hoping. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Keep your fingers crossed, please.
Yeah. But it is what it is. We have to keep going. We have to keep bills do not stop coming. We have to pay our staff. So we just have to continue it. Any price increase eventually comes down to the price of the house, and eventually comes down to the homeowners, unfortunately. This is something that hopefully everybody is working on. People in the construction industry has really suffered, especially some of the companies. Now they can't even employ their full staff because they don't have enough project. It's not because they don't. It's just that they don't have a permit. Instead of taking a month and a half, it takes 3-4 months.
Yeah.
So same thing construction material you don't know. So I have some of the builder I had a conversation with. They have to let go like 25 or 50% of their staff because they can't keep paying them. So
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
It's really, really hard. And it has been. So what are your thoughts on how things are going? It sounds like there's been a little bit of relief and maybe not a ton of short term, like a ricochet, if you will, but it sounds like maybe things will improve going into 2021. Like, Jason, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to improve. Right. It may not improve as fast as it deteriorated originally. But I think we're going in the right direction now.
Yeah.
And I've told everybody, if it would just stop going up and getting worse, let's stop. Let's get it stopped first. Then we can turn it around and start getting improvement coming.
Yeah.
I think the pricing is going to be something that gets fixed quicker than the availability of the products. I think the products are going to be a problem for a while
because of the demand of new construction. Construction is
So, do you think that prices will ever go back to what they used to? I mean, it's hard to I know you don't have a crystal ball, but I get that question a lot. I'm asked like almost once a week at this point. Do I ever think that prices for construction materials will go back to what they were prior to the pandemic? And I don't have a good answer. But my gut is like probably not.
I would be shocked.
Because people have paid for it anyway, right? Like we've almost created a new cultural price threshold for a lot of these materials, especially in Northern Virginia specifically, which is where we are, which is an affluent area. And I personally, I'm not sure it's ever going to go back down all the way. I think it's going to go down further than what we have it now. But I think we're looking at probably, I don't know, settling somewhere around twice of what we used to pay in January of 2020.
And that's kind of what I would guess too. That you're right. You're right where I was thinking. I mean, I think if OSB was $10 or $11 before this, I think it's going to be $20, $22 when it settles. Again, without having a crystal ball, that's kind of what I think too. I agree with you.
For sure. So, and also as a disclosure, we're not economists, we're not attorneys, and we don't have a crystal ball where we can tell you that this is guaranteed.
And if we could guarantee this, we would not be having this conversation right now. We would be counting our money.
Do not use our advice to go buy stocks in lumber. Like we are literally guessing here, based on our experience and our expertise to the best of our ability. So don't take this as financial advice. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking as well. Raj, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
No. I was thinking about in terms of price of the house. The same price of the house we used to sell is, give you an example. One is spec home, maybe 6,000-7,000 square foot home, 2-car garage in Palleschi. We used to sell for 1.5 million. Now it's 1.65. Why? Same way, because I think eventually homeowners have to pay. And some of the custom homes now, I don't even build it anymore because the price is so much. And also, if I sign a contract now, I don't know if I can honor the same price 6 months down the road. You know? So the only way to do business or building custom home is have a clause like, say, if there's a price increase, you have to pay. But again, not all customers have that $200,000 sitting on the banker side, right? They usually their budgets are very tight. And I know that custom home builders, custom home clients, usually they always go like, $25,000 or $50,000 over budget, which they tend to use their credit card or like that because, they're building probably house first time in their life and they may or may not necessarily build another one. So they want to do their best. And, that $50,000 now all of a sudden $200,000, it could be a very uncertain project for some people because of this all things going on. And these spec homes, like I said, is price is going every month the way it is now. Hopefully, with the lumber price coming down, that will adjust. But that's where we're at these conditions. Jason, I want to quickly ask you one thing about the windows. Okay, I mean we have vinyl windows, or it could be Pella lifestyle by wood and metal cladding, right?
Right.
So all the windows about the same lead time, or
no?
What do you see? Okay.
So right now, wood clad windows, whether it be aluminum clad or vinyl clad, they are running anywhere from between a 6 to 7 week lead time. Some of them are up even to 20 and plus
lead time.
Now, to order them while you're under contract to purchase the property to stay.
I tell people, hey, the house you don't even know you're getting ready to build, you need to order the windows for. I mean, you don't even know about it.
It's tough.
But what are those windows you're talking about? Those like any particular product or any brand or
like Pella, the Pella windows that we help you with. I mean, right now they're the ones that went from 6 to 12 weeks suddenly. So that's one of the ones that and that's a very good window for a price point in this market. I mean, 12 weeks is about where you need to figure for that. Geldwin's lead time right now is running about 6 to 7 weeks. And I believe Anderson's about the same too.
Geldwin is typically it's vinyl, right?
Well, that's the Geldwin clad product. That's the aluminum or vinyl clad.
Okay.
Any vinyl window, the quickest is 10 to 12 weeks. Vinyl is the worst lead times out there right now.
Including the doors, right? Some of the doors that could be vinyl, like sliding
glass doors,
sliding glass doors, things like that. Okay, about 12 weeks, like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
A long time.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a broken window.
That usually they do try to figure out ways to streamline that because they understand that there are situations that people just can't have a 3-month lead time. So the service and the warranty work, somehow they find a way to get that done a little bit quicker typically.
Got it. Well, that's good. That's at least a relief.
Right.
That's not too bad.
Awesome. So, but overall, we're thinking, hey, we're starting to move in the right direction. It's feeling like we're getting a little bit of relief with some of the cost improvements on the stick. And this is we're feeling better about it overall.
Yeah, it has
naively better about it.
It has quit getting worse.
Okay. Well, hey, that is in itself an improvement.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's just get it stopped, and then we can start turning it around.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, that's really all of my questions were answered for today. This was fantastic. I really appreciate your very specific description. I think this is going to be really helpful to our audience and those out there that are considering a flip, in the middle of a flip, trying to figure out what to do with their flip as they're stuck in some of these limbos waiting on materials. Raj, is there anything else you want to throw in before we kind of end for today?
I mean, like you say, you have to order the material. We need the lumber. We not do EWP. Sometimes even if we do design work in our office, we have several builders we work with, and some of the builders, depending on how heavy LVLs are, they prefer steel beams. Because the LVLs, when you're heavy and multiply, then you have to use bolts. It could be more labor intensive. Eventually, a steel beam could be cheaper. So we're also giving that options. But overall, you just have to be cautious. Talk to the vendors. Someone you can trust and reliable. Like Jason said, Jason even doesn't know. You can't even say 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It could be tomorrow. It could be 14 weeks. So that's the situation we are. There's nothing we can do about it. I guess we just have to live the way it is, right? If there's nothing.
And plan ahead.
Plan ahead.
Plan ahead. The biggest piece of advice from this is plan ahead.
Yes.
Order ahead as much as you possibly can, and that'll at least create some predictability around this to the best of your ability. But buckle up.
Yeah. It's going to be a wild ride for a little while longer.
Still a bit of a wild ride. Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining us. This was really great. I appreciate your time, and I hope you'll come back and visit us sometime. Maybe in a couple more months, we can recap and see what else has changed and what's gone on since.
Well, hopefully I have good news each time we do this.
I hope so.
Thank you, I appreciate it, man. You're the best.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Have a good one.
See you later.
See you.